So what if I told you that the way most of us think about marketing creative is already completely out of date? Well, over the next few minutes, we're going to tear down and rebuild our understanding of the whole creative process piece by piece to build what's called the modern creative stack.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll get a handle on the huge shift in what marketing is even for anymore. Then, we'll lay down a solid foundation, the science of actually knowing what works. From there, we're going to build the engine that makes personalization possible. Pour in some AI as the fuel, and finally, we'll figure out what our job as human strategists looks like in this brand new world.
Okay, so before we jump into any of the cool tools, we have to get our heads around this really fundamental change in marketing's job description. You know, it's not just about making pretty ads anymore. It's about being the main engine that actually grows the business.
For, decades, marketing was kind of seen as the coloring in department, right? It was just a tactical thing you did. And this quote from Betsy Holden, it just nails that old way of thinking. A mindset that, honestly, is becoming a huge liability in the world we live in today.
The new way forward is a complete 180. We're shifting from just shouting out ads to becoming a real strategic growth engine. And that engine is powered by a deep, almost forensic understanding of our customers. And to build an engine like that, well, you're going to need a whole new set of tools.
So how do we actually make that leap from just being tactical to being strategic? It all starts by laying down the very first layer of our stack, which is all about moving from guesswork to certainty. And the key to doing that is testing, rigorous testing.
At the heart of all this is something you've probably heard of, A/B testing. Just think of it like a science experiment for your creative ideas. You've got version A, you've got version B, and you see which one wins. It's a really simple but incredibly powerful way to let your audience tell you what they want, instead of you just guessing. It's creativity, but backed by data.
So why bother? Why bring all this scientific-sounding stuff into the, artsy world of creative? What's the real, actual impact on the bottom line?
The benefits are just huge. You're not just making things look a little nicer. You're actually solving problems for your customers. You're getting more bang for your buck from the traffic you already have. And you get to make changes with confidence because the data is telling you it's the right move. You're not just hoping for things to get better. You're actually engineering it.
And if you want a perfect example of this in action, just think about Amazon's famous one-click button. That whole thing was born from this exact mindset. They tested a way to make buying stuff easier, to remove that little bit of friction, and it was so ridiculously successful, it literally changed e-commerce forever. That's the power we're talking about, from one single test.
Okay, so A/B testing is awesome, for sure, but it has one big limitation. You can't run a separate test for every single person who visits your site. So how do you take all those learnings and deliver a truly personal experience to everyone at scale? Well, for that, you need an engine.
And that engine has a name, Dynamic Creative Optimization, or DCO. So if A/B testing is like one science experiment, DCO is like running millions of those experiments all at the same time. It's a technology that automatically builds and shows a personalized ad to every single person in real time based on what it knows about them.
So how does this magic actually work? Well, DCO is constantly listening to all these little data signals. Like, is it pouring rain in New York right now? Okay, maybe it shows someone an ad for a sunny vacation. Are you scrolling on your phone in bed at 2 in the morning? Maybe the message changes. It's an automated system that turns all this raw data into creative that feels super personal and relevant.
And the results? They pretty much speak for themselves. Just look at these numbers from Koala Mattresses. They nearly doubled their conversions. They cut the time it took to make creative by a third. And their cost to get a customer dropped by over half. This isn't just some cool theory. It's a real, proven engine for growth.
All right, so we've got our testing foundation, and we've got our DCO engine. But any powerful engine needs a ton of fuel to run. To personalize at this kind of scale, you need a massive library of creative. We're talking thousands of images, headlines, videos. Where on earth do you get all that content? Well, this is where AI steps in and just supercharges the whole stack.
This quote from Reza at Motion, it just nails the biggest impact of generative AI. It's not really about replacing human creativity. It's about completely changing the economics of making stuff. It's a tool for efficiency on a scale we've never seen before, letting you create a virtually endless supply of creative fuel for, like, pennies on the dollar.
And the stuff these tools can do is already mind-bending. Somebody actually typed this prompt into OpenAI's Sora model. Just let that sink in. A super realistic video of a Labrador hacking a computer, just from a sentence. We're way past just making different versions of a button color now. We're talking about generating entire photorealistic concepts from a few words. The possibilities are just exploding.
And this chart really just shows you the insane impact on resources. Something that used to take weeks and a whole bunch of money can now be helped along or even fully created in minutes. AI is that high-octane fuel that makes our DCO engine not just run, but run at hyperspeed.
So, all of this leads to a really big and very natural question. If the machines can test and personalize and even create, what's left for us humans to do? Is the creative professional like an endangered species now?
The answer to that question is a hard no. As this quote points out, as technology handles the how of creation and distribution, the strategic work, the stuff in the middle, becomes way more valuable. The human role isn't going away, it's just leveling up, from being a doer to being a thinker, a master strategist.
The creative strategist of the future is really the architect of this whole system. They're the researcher digging for deep customer insights, the analyst who makes sense of the data, the planner who charts the course, and now they're the expert AI prompter who knows how to conduct the machine. You're basically becoming the chief AI officer of your creative team.
And that leaves us with one final and I think really important thought. As machines get better and better at giving us the answers, the right image, the perfect headline, maybe the most critical, future-proof skill for us humans is just knowing what questions to ask in the first place. And that right there is the true art and science of the modern creative stack.